Hey, so I'm from Sweden. This is Adrianne from the Black Women in Europe podcast, your mindfulness activist.
Hey, it's your girl Kate Pearl, your truth teller and healer for justice over here in the UK. And this is our season of healing
I'm
racial
healing
trauma.
racial trauma. We were supposed to do that together, people, but that's as close as we could get. So
Yeah,
stick around.
blooper reel.
Racial trauma. Ever heard of it? Let's get one thing straight. It is not just feeling bad or overreacting. Racial trauma is real. It's patterned, it's passed down, and yes, it's political. This isn't just some buzzword or theory. It's in your body, it's in your mind, it's in your ancestors' bloodline, and it shows up in everyday life, from those side-eye microaggressions to overt violence to erasure in the media. In fact, 2024 research from child and adolescent mental health shows that racial trauma is significantly linked to mental health struggles, such as anxiety, depression, and PTSD, especially in Black youth. This isn't just academic talk, it's in our lived experiences. I'm talking about how racial trauma doesn't just fade away, it stays, and it doesn't just affect you. It affects your kids, your community, and everyone around you. It's your girl Kate Pearl, and I'm here to break this down for you. Because the truth is, if you're Black in the UK, if you're Black anywhere, but yes, if you're Black in the UK, this is your reality. And whether you're aware of it or not, it is passed down through generations, and it embeds in our bodies. Chronic stress, hypervigilance, cortisol overload, these are all the results of racial trauma. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. But we're not just here to talk about it. We're here to heal. And for those ready to dive even deeper into the conversation, I'm co-hosting a special season of the Black Women in Europe podcast, Season of Healing Racial Trauma, and it drops on May the 1st. This season is all about understanding racial trauma, unpacking it, and talking about how it embeds itself in your body and some of the practices we can actually take home and use to heal. It's available everywhere you get your podcast, so be sure to hit subscribe and check that out. If you're feeling this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Remember to follow us over here at Kate Pearl's Pearls for more straight talk on racial trauma, healing and building resilience. We're just getting started. Let's heal.
Wow, Kate, you caught me at rage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get going on this one. Wow.
Yes. We're going to peel so many layers off this one. We'll get into the rage part in a moment, and we can definitely thread it throughout, right? Because more than justified rage. I'm just going to start by putting that out there. But let's talk about the myth of linear healing,
and
right? I mean, healing from racial trauma. It's not a destination. It's a cycle. It's a combination of things that we need to unlearn and debunk. And too often, I think we think of healing a bit like something of a to-do list, something that we need to check off as we move forward with with an end point, some kind of, mystical end point that we'll reach. And healing from racial trauma, it's never as neat as that. We've touched on it many times now, and we'll touch on it many, many more times that, we're still going through this thing. It's ongoing. It's messy. It's such a journey, and it's a cycle. It's not a straight line, and there are some days you're going to feel whole or as close as you can get, and other days you're going to feel like you're unraveling, and both of those feelings are a part of the journey.
And you know what, Kate? When you say that, it could be the littlest thing that'll trigger you too.
Oh yes, 100%.
You think you're doing great, you think you're fine, and then
yeah.
So when you say it's the journey, there's no destination, is there? Right?
Not really. No. It's not. It's not like this part of the. You start here on the sat nav and you land there guaranteed based on whatever info you put in. That's not how this works. And what makes it even tougher, there's this culture and this expectation that we should, always kind of be over it, intergenerationally. There's a lot of stuff I see and have experienced,
Oh my God, Kate.
Therapy. And it's like, well, yeah, it shows.
Yeah. And you know what? That triggered me because I hear people say, forget about it, or that was so long ago, or
it's in the past.
It's like that was 30 seconds ago. That's not like
exactly. And we're expected to move over these things so much quicker than everybody else that, and it's 100% true. You've been through trauma, now it's time to heal and be done. But the truth is, healing's never linear. And like you say, some days, you might feel like you're there, and other days you're going to feel like you're absolutely fucking not. It will take the tiniest, what you think of as the tiniest thing, and you will fall apart. And the thing is, that's okay. It's the idea or the myth of linear healing can be harmful, though, because it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, that you're not progressing the way that others expect you to, So I just want to highlight, there's also this pressure. We talked about it. We'll talk about it again. It's a massive, common thread here. The pressure to always be strong and always be, we're talking about inspirational and educational for others. You see it everywhere, right? Whether it's through the constant call for resilience in the face of injustice, or the idea that we should always be teaching or leading. We're often put on a pedestal for our ability to withstand pain. But what happens when we don't feel strong? What happens when we're vulnerable? Because, the truth is, healing isn't always pretty. It's definitely not always tidy. And some days you're going to feel defeated.
You know what?
And that's okay.
That's totally okay, because it's unrealistic, right? To be up all the time, especially with everything we're navigating. And something you said really resonates with me, coupled in with the exhaustion and everything. But we're expected to be able to withstand all those assaults as if it's normal.
Yes.
And keep going, and then solve everybody else's problem. When you think about it, it's too much. It's really too much. It's really too much when you think about it.
It is. It's way too much. And there'll be global examples, but I like to, this supporting UK example, Black communities often face this constant demand to be strong in the face of adversity. And example would be, the history of the Windrush generation. These are people who were invited to Britain after World War II. We've talked about it, much like modern day immigrants. There are other reasons they came, yes, but the propaganda, the better life stuff, only to face systemic racism, discrimination and hostility. And they were expected to carry the weight of that colonial history while making the nation stronger. And yet their struggles were, if ever, acknowledged. We're only starting to hear more now. So, when we talk about racial trauma, we need to challenge that idea that we should always be strong, because we should be allowed to rest, break down, show our vulnerability, because that is part of healing too. And being real about our pain and our struggle is just as important as the moments when we're showing resilience.
It is, and it's part of the human experience, and we're human.
Yeah.
We're allowed to have these human emotions and process them.
Yes.
That's part of, I think, the dehumanizing of Black people. No, they don't feel pain. No, they can handle this and all. Yeah. No.
You're never supposed to need help, ever. And certainly don't ask for it. So rage. Okay, people, let's get into this. Let's talk about, anger. Rage is something that's often misunderstood, I think, especially, for so many reasons. Something that can be dehumanized or just pushed out feeling rage for a lot of things, but especially when it comes to racial trauma, because we're told that anger is something that we should suppress, that it's somehow unproductive or worse, dangerous. But here's the truth. Anger, it's valid, it's necessary, and it's often rooted in love and deep awareness more than anything, because anger, it's a secondary emotion. It's also not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural human response to injustice. And when we experience racial trauma, our anger comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of love for ourselves, love for our communities, and a fierce desire to see change. And most of all, it's born out of the deep awareness that things should be different, that we deserve better.
It's a necessary emotion. And you're right when you say, we always tell children, don't be angry, instead of teaching them how to manage their anger. Because there are going to be things that make you angry. Okay, you're angry. That doesn't mean you're going to go hurt someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do something destructive to yourself. But we are, and I know when you said that word, it popped in my mind, dangerous. And again, that's why they label us, right? The angry Black women, we're dangerous. Be aware of that person. You don't want to work with that person or have that person in your space, right? Because you're dangerous. But anger is a necessary emotion. And I love what you said. Say that again. It's coming from a place of love. You said something.
Anger, it is coming from a place. It's coming from a place of love for ourselves, and I think also, I'd add to that now, self-respect as well. But it's coming from a place of love for ourselves, love for our communities, and a fierce desire to see change. Because on a human level, we recognise that things should be better, that we deserve way more. And that the thing about that kind of rage, and like I say, going back, we're teaching kids not to be this, that, and the other because of anger. That rage can be exhausting. It can burn us out. But at the same time, or simultaneously, it can also be energizing. Anger has the power to push us into action, to mobilize, to create. And I can't count the number of times that I've gone and done something that's created some form of change, really, because it was rooted in the fact that I was so pissed off with the state of things as they were. So we need to acknowledge that actually anger is sacred. It's not shameful.
No, and it can be a catalyst for change.
Yeah.
As it was for you, a catalyst for social change, personal growth, change in every situation that you're in. And I should have this memorized, but to paraphrase James Baldwin, something he said about being Black in America, something about if you're conscious and Black in America, it means to go around in a rage, a constant state of rage. And I'm paraphrasing him. But again, it's kind of like if you woke, right? Woke's a bad word in the States these days. I don't know if you'll ever use it in the UK. But if you're aware of the social injustices, you're going to be angry all the time. That's basically what he was saying. So we do have to be able to process anger.
Yeah.
So that tells me I'm going to give you a preview. Our meditation at the end is going to be for anger management.
Excellent. No, that's going to be helpful.
We're angry and it's okay.
Yeah.
Kate's telling you why.
Exactly. And then piggybacking off, we're taught that anger is this, something to be avoided, something that makes us difficult, like you were saying, or the angry Black woman or unmanageable. But the reality is anger's a powerful tool. It's a source of strength that we can channel into change. And we need to stop seeing it as something to be afraid of or, something to suppress or avoid entirely. And there's going to be a lot of examples of this, but I'm going to go back to, the mother of Stephen Lawrence, Doreen Lawrence, reminder that 18-year-old kid existing while Black, 1993, stood at a bus stop waiting to go home, murdered by a gang of 5 racists, for those of you that don't know. But, his mum, Doreen Lawrence, spoken out about the anger that she felt after her son's death and the way that anger drove her to fight for justice. There'll be loads of examples, but, that anger, it wasn't just about personal grief. It was about a larger systemic failure. It's about the fact that Black lives in the UK, but everywhere, as we know, aren't being valued, and the justice system was letting them down. And that righteous anger, it led to movement, one that's still fighting today for accountability. And so while that anger was painful, it also fueled real change. It
fueled real change, and I love that phrase that you use, righteous anger.
Yeah.
Righteous anger. Again, thinking of somebody, John Lewis, one of our giants of the civil rights movement, who was a representative for years, who we lost last year, I think it was. It was like good trouble. Do some good trouble. And to me, that's like righteous anger. Use your anger to do something good with it.
Exactly that. Want to get into shame and internalized messaging a little bit next, because it all feeds in. But one of the most insidious parts of racial trauma is the shame that comes with it. And going back to anger a lot, again, it's a lot of the shame, which is why we're suppressing it. Yeah.
The shame game. Game.
We're often made to feel like, we're too much, or like our feelings aren't valid. And colonialism, racism, and respectability politics, above all, have all played a role in teaching us to actually kind of fear our own emotions. We've been conditioned to suppress our anger and to hold back our grief and sit on it and to question whether we're even allowed to feel the things that we do.
Yeah, Kate, how many times have you been told you're too much? I hear that a lot in Sweden. Too American, too this, too... Yeah. Do you get that in the UK?
So many times. I'm always too much something for someone. I mean, I've learned over time how to, frankly, I don't give a shit. I ain't got time of day to care about your opinion, but it's damaging over time.
It is. I'm glad that you learned that. I've learned that, but it still stings every time I hear it. But now I say thank you.
Yes.
Try to go in for a hug.
Yeah. We can find our ways of making fun and light situations of it, but we're talking collateral damage here. And there's also this shame around not being over it yet. We've alluded to that already. How many of us have heard in some form or fashion or some collection of words, you should have gotten over that by now, or why are you still upset? It's this idea that if we're not constantly healing, not necessarily even that, but if we're not healed, then there's something wrong with us. But, here's the truth. Healing isn't a straight path. Let's go again. Racial trauma hasn't actually stopped because the systems that allow this to thrive haven't been dismantled yet. Healing absolutely isn't a straight path. And some of us may need more time than others. And we all heal differently. And that's okay. Naming the shame as well, it takes away its power. Again, if we can't name the beast, you can peel away the layers of the power that it has on you. And when we acknowledge that the shame that we feel, whether it's shame about how we're perceived or shame about not being over it or shame about being angry, we take away its hold over us. It won't happen instantly. It's a little by little. It's an important step-by-step process or part of the wider healing process. Yeah. And there will be global examples. Tons.
Yeah, tons. Give us some. You have some?
Yeah, for me, one of my favourite is the Windrush. Okay, Black British people were treated during the Windrush scandal in particular.
I have so much respect for the Windrush generation, and I wasn't aware of them until I watched the BBC documentary about, well, it was British. I don't know if it was BBC, but about the Windrush generation. It was about, I think this was a series. How Black women saved the NHS? It might have been something on that topic, and they introduced the Windrush generation, how they were recruited to come over. I had no idea, and you know what? I had no idea the history. And then when Theresa May was doing all that stuff, and it came up, I was like, "What are they talking about? The Windrush?" It was such an interesting name, but that was the name of the vessel that carried them over.
That was the thing. That's the name of the boat. The original vessel, 1948, landed in Tilbury Docks, which I believe is Portsmouth. So the name of the ship was Windrush, and then Windrush generation refers to people coming over from the Caribbean between 1948 and 1973. So that's 1.0, and then their families were often born here. Over in the UK.
Give us a quick primer on that for people that might be like me that maybe heard of Windrush but don't really know. Because why did they become a target under the Theresa May government?
Well, it was the deportation, the hostile environment stuff starting to rear its ugly head as far as legislation. Calling it what it is, we have just very racist powers that be. There's always been something like this bubbling under the surface at many different times in history. But it would make us an easy target. A lot of those kids that were born over here would have had different. There were certain laws that weren't in place at the time they were being born over here and coming over. I'm just going to call it what it is. It was a racist abuse of power.
It was, because it was basically a technicality because some didn't have proper documentation.
Yeah.
But the government knew exactly who they were, why they were there. And I do remember some people getting caught out going to a family funeral in Jamaica or whatever, and then not being able to get back in, things like that, and just being shocked, or even their parents or grandparents not having. They came in the Windrush era when they were recruited to come over, but never got a British passport or had any documentation.
Yeah, and it was required of them then.
It wasn't required. Nobody even thinks about it. You're like, well, you brought me over. You know who I am. You know, I'm working. I'm paying my taxes. You see me. You know, so it became a big shock when all of a sudden they got delegitimized, as if they were, and I don't like the word illegal because that's just the status. That has nothing to do with who you are as a person. So they didn't have the legal status because it wasn't required at the time. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're getting caught up in this net. I never really understood. Was it because all of a sudden we didn't like immigrants or something? I don't understand.
That one's been going on that's as old as the day is long. It's been really, it is. I mean, there's been so many different individual events, but for many, that scandal itself, scandal. I hate that. The term itself, the Windrush scandal, is so derogatory to the people that were affected. But it stirred up deep feelings of shame and guilt because those people, like I say, they got here pretty much by request. They had their own reasons, a lot of them as well, like modern day immigrants. But it was for those who had fought so hard to rebuild Britain, but also just give it this whole new lease of life, to then just be disposed of in such a calculated and disgusting way. It was a clear example of how shame is used to minimize and silence communities and to prevent us from demanding what is rightfully ours, you know?
Yeah, it was shocking from outsider, and I just didn't understand it. And I hope that it all got resolved for the people that wanted. People were separated from their families.
Yeah.
And it affected some people of Jamaican ancestry who had never been to Jamaica.
They'd literally never touched Jamaican soil or anywhere else in the Caribbean ever at any point. They were born here. They were born here. They lived here. They worked here. They got educated here.
Just as British as anybody else. You know, I love the Black British accents. You know, just as British as anyone else. No hint of any Caribbean accent, because maybe that's not everyone's story.
Yeah.
But that happened. But you know what? I just wonder before, I know I digress you, but did Africans get lumped up in that? Like, was there, because like I know in the States was happening, this immigration roundup. If you just look like you could be an immigrant, whatever the heck that looks like, right? Especially in America, if you look like you could be an immigrant or they hear you speaking in language that's not English, you can get caught up in some dragnet, even though you're a United States citizen, or you have the right to work there, and even if you're military veterans. So I wonder, did any other Black people get caught up in that wind rush? We're going to question you.
Not to my knowledge, and as far and in my lifetime, I don't remember Africans getting literally lumped up into one group like that and being basically told to, well, piss off back to your own country is one of the phrases still sadly used very often over here.
Used in the States too. It's like that. I guess that's used by racists everywhere.
Yeah. Not to my knowledge and not to my memory. That doesn't necessarily mean that, but I don't believe so. Not on that level, and not over such that was such a short span of time, really, as well. And so that just like that was so quick.
So quick and so frightening, and a precursor to what's happening in the States. So just to let you know, even in the UK, you can be born there and your citizenship can be questioned.
Oh yeah, 100%. So yeah, I mean, as communities globally, definitely. But yeah, going back here, the work, we've fought to reclaim our narratives, the work of activist writers and artists who challenge the shame that comes with being Black in Britain, like the amazing work being done by people like Bernardine Evaristo, and Akala is one of my absolute favourites, shows us that naming the shame is the first step toward reclaiming our power.
Okay, because I like books too. Bernadette Evaristo, I know she won an award, and I read a couple of her books. She's great. Yeah. Was that a title that you mentioned, or another writer?
Akala is another writer, but also writer, musician, and he did a lot. I don't know how much he does now, but he did a lot of talks and educational pieces around universities, and so the Cambridges of the world and others. Lots of kind of public addresses about the intersectionality and also a lot of the plot holes in class, culture, and race. So it's done some very interesting work. Akala, Akala, and look for a book called Natives for anyone who needs a read. It's absolutely fascinating, and a lot of history is broken down.
Okay, I'm going to my library app right now.
Yeah, get your bookshelf on.
Thank you. I love it.
I think Natives. I forget. There's more to it than that. I'll have to. I'll remember it again.
By title, and try to put it in the show notes, because thanks for building out our library.
Yes. Going to talk about the cracked open days, you guys. The ones where so we feel like we're there, but then no, we're not. No, not at all. We're going to talk about the days when we feel cracked open, when we're emotionally vulnerable, we're questioning everything. These are the days when it feels like the work is too much. Yeah. The weight of everything we've experienced is too heavy. And yet these days are also part of that deep healing. Yeah. Healing isn't about fixing yourself. Because we're not broken. I've said this before, but we are damaged. It's about meeting yourself where you are and showing up for yourself no matter how broken you feel. And there's a powerful lesson in vulnerability. I don't remember who says this, but there's a saying that goes, you can't heal what you don't feel. And the truth is that sometimes the only way to heal, really, in fact, I'd say more often than not, is actually to allow ourselves to feel the hurt, to sit with the pain. We're not soaking ourselves in it, but to sit with it and to acknowledge it instead of trying to push it away or sweep it under the carpet. It's okay to have days where you feel like you're not okay. Yeah?
Say that again, because that's very hard to sit with your pain. And if you're not aware, you have to sit. Okay, so you may know something's wrong, but you don't know. And a lot of times symptoms present itself and you think that's the problem, but the root can be this. So you can't heal what you don't feel.
Yeah.
So you have to be quiet and still to feel it. But a lot of people don't want to feel stuff.
A lot of people don't want to feel stuff. A lot of people want to feel stuff, don't want to feel stuff, or face themselves. And I'm saying that with no shade whatsoever. That was me for a long time. Time. Yeah. But those components are crucial, because if you're not actually allowing yourself to feel or to be conscious or give yourself permission, like Adrianne, 100% agree, you need to allow yourself moments of stillness. And you got to listen to your body. And yeah, your mind can be noisy and sometimes full of shit, but give that time, give that a minute to, and listen to you. And it's okay to have days where you don't feel like you're okay. Yeah.
And you know what? It's okay if some weeks you have more days than not that you don't feel okay. But let's just to say, if you feel really, really bad, see if you can get to a medical professional or something, right? Because I know we're talking about this as if you can handle it on your own. Sometimes you can't. And so don't be afraid. And you know what? It's always okay to talk to somebody, even if you think you're handling things. And maybe start with a trusted person.
Yeah.
And it can just be like, is this in my head? I'm facing this and it's getting to me. And it can be enough just to talk with someone. But I don't want someone who's afraid to sit with their feelings and think it's too much. Right, because like you said, you didn't face it for a long time. I know I lived a long part of my life in denial about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But a lot of it about racial trauma. And I can't say that in the first 22 years of my life when I lived in Washington, D.C. at the time when it was Chocolate City, but immediately when I moved out of there and went to Virginia Beach, it was like in my freaking face, Confederate flags, hostile employees, things like that. And you're kind of like, you don't really want to talk about it. And it's like, nobody wants to talk about it. So I understand if it's hard to talk about it. Kate said it can be hard to talk about it and we wait for years. So I just wanted to say that because let people know they're brave. You're more brave. You're brave. And it's not like because society says you need to be brave, but you're brave for your own sake.
Yes. 100. And
what can you say? What, like, did you have, like I mentioned, I got to schedule my therapy coaching session. Yeah. Well, how did you finally break through where you said, this is a problem? Did you have professional help or you were able to do it on your own?
Combo.
I had to have therapy.
Combo. I mean, I did not have anyone that I could talk to. No one trusted. And that's no exaggeration. I had no trusted people. When I didn't have trusted people, I found my pen again. And I know it's not everybody's jam. And journaling and mindfulness will sound, we've talked about it, cheesy, possibly, but it's really not. I talk to my journal. Yeah. And no filters. Let it run. No filters.
So great tip. If Kate said, if you're not one to put pen to paper, self-conversation.
Yeah.
Find a quiet place where you won't be, or maybe take a walk in a safe space where you can talk by yourself. I
was going to add that.
Do you know?
I firmly believe that nature and my conversations with the Most High have absolutely saved my life more times than I can count.
Wow. And that's accessible for most people. Get out in nature. It doesn't have to be, you drove 30 miles and you're out some secluded place.
Not at all. It doesn't have to be. And you know what? It might just be a patch of park somewhere. There might be a quiet stream somewhere. One of my favorite things is actually to put my feet on the root of tree. If I've got one and I know where one is, my feet go on the roots of tree barefoot, and I do nothing but listen to the sounds around me. And then my head noise, first of all, it'll probably calm right down. And second of all, the one piece of information I needed that actually makes sense comes through every time, guaranteed.
That's the other benefit of being in stillness. Yes, when you allow yourself to be in stillness, solutions, things become clear. Now, I love that standing on the root of a tree. I love grounding barefoot, touching trees, but never thought about putting my foot in the root. So I'm
on the actual roots. Yeah, find a good. There's going to be one somewhere. Sometimes it might be a little further afield, and it's accessible to most. We're not. For anyone that maybe not so much. There was a suggestion on a previous episode Adrianne made about bringing nature home as well. Like if you can, if you can't get out of it so much, bring plants in, bring maybe, rocks and things from outside, and just look out the window even and just connect with the sky. Like all of these, by the way, are ancient before we westernized anything, before we had, and by that I mean, we started medicating people and calling them crazy respectfully. Sometimes maybe that is accurate, but I don't know. We didn't have any of that stuff because we didn't need it. We connected with the earth. That is one of the most powerful of all the things that really helped me. Like I said, it was a combo. I had therapy and different counsellors as well. That, above any counsellor, any day of the week for me, that's how I got to being okay. I got to being okay with my pain. I got to be okay with owning it and actually sitting with it and being still and being right with myself and learning how to love myself. Nature every time. And one of the practices in one of my books is watching clouds.
Yes. Cloud watching.
Yes.
We used to do that as kids. And you see all kinds of shapes.
Go spend a minute after your nighttime bath, just before you get your head down. I'm still doing this now, and I will go and look out my back door if I can, and if we've got a nice clear sky and I can see them stars and I'm outside for a minute. It is precious.
Very powerful. So in a way, be a little bit more childlike. Children always have these internal conversations out loud.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? Talking to myself, or
and it doesn't matter who sees. Like literally, no one's watching. Just do, childlike, 100%.
Lay in the grass, lay down, watch the clouds.
Yeah.
Just see what funny shapes, like you say, the stars. Look for constellations. Just breathe in nature. Oh, I'm too busy. 1 minute.
Yeah.
1 minute.
What, 1 to 10? You can't do anything else. Just be 1 to 10 minutes. Yeah.
And maybe if you're commuting, and that could be hustle and bustle, maybe think, okay, on my way home, I can be a little less. I'm going to get off the bus or the tube 1 stop earlier and walk and see what I notice in nature that day. Fit it in somehow. Because I know people are harried and rushed, but even when you're moving through your daily, you can add a layer of mindfulness to it to elevate that mundane experience.
Absolutely. And the critical thing I want to add to this whole piece between this was a sermon between Adrianne and I, if I don't say so myself, is that 9 times out of 10 this stuff is completely free. It's not going to cost you anything but an investment of time, an investment of, I guess, faith, and to decide that you're worth the investment of that mindfulness in your own day.
Let's say 10 out of 10, unless you're going to include the price you already paid for your pen and paper that you've already got at home.
Yeah, which is a bargain. Every time. Yeah.
So I love that reminder. This isn't about going to the spa, going to some expensive spa, joining some gym, or taking some expensive program. It's really all the tools from the ancients.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And they're all still the way we've got the concrete jungle built, all that sort of stuff, but they're way more abundant than you think. You've just got to keep your eyes open. So what I was going to do is tack on a little bit of another example about the cracked open days, but kind of from an activism perspective. UK example, aftermath of the Grenfell Tower fire. I don't know yet. I know Adrianne would have heard of that. But just in case you didn't, it was a tower block in London, burnt down, full of black and brown individuals. They never finished really building it properly. They didn't give a shit about it, respectfully. And so many families died and got disjointed and are still affected to that day. And many of those that were affected, spoke about feeling cracked open because of the tragedy, and the grief was all consuming. And yet in that rawness, many people found or manufactured even, because sometimes it is that, the strength to speak out and demand justice. And those moments of vulnerability, they weren't signs of weakness. They were the catalyst for the collective power that would eventually bring about change. Never going to bring those lives back, never going to bring their homes back, but they made change. And vulnerability.
But isn't that an example of righteous anger? Righteous anger.
Yes, absolutely.
They were, and I don't know if criminal charges ever came, but they were building code violations or something.
Yeah.
I watched it burn on the news. It was tragic. You're watching it, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, if you're up there, and it started, somebody was cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was a tinderbox waiting to go up at any time, wasn't it? And I hope it triggered like a review of all these high rises. Is anyone else living in such danger?
Not that I'm aware of, but it definitely triggered some. I can't remember exactly what the details were, but it definitely triggered some look-ins, at least, into how high rises were built.
And let me just say, this gives me a chance to speak about one of our imports to the UK that returned with one of your treasures, Mrs. Sussex. She, also known as Meghan Markle, did a cookbook project with the people from Grenfell Tap Rights as a fundraiser, because they were such diverse communities with amazing food. And I think she did that through one of her charities, or maybe just as a personal, but she could relate. I don't know what any of the other royals did other than lip service, but she actually met survivors and came up with a project to help them feel validated and raise their voices and bring awareness to communities like that. Because I don't think a lot of people even think about communities where you're relegated to substandard housing.
Yeah.
People don't see them.
Don't see them and don't care, frankly. And vulnerability overall, it's often seen as something to be ashamed of. But when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to sit with our pain, that is in that stillness. Going back to Adrianne again, I love that. That's when we find our strength. That's when we find our resilience, because we're clear enough to do so. And that's when we make space for true healing. Yeah.
I can relate this because I work with veterans who have PTS, and we put the D in parentheses, disorder, because in my mind, resilience training, we're taught it's not a disorder. Your body that's a natural reaction to the trauma that you've experienced. But there's a modality, yoga nidra. I don't know if you've ever tried it. It's called yogic sleep, and it is I don't want to say intense, but it's meditation. It's yoga, but with none of the asanas, none of the movement. And the goal is to get you into a yogic sleep, a deep sleep. And when I do it, when I'm guided into it, I have like an out-of-body experience. You do feel rested. And it can be from 20 minutes to an hour or longer. And I've had veterans tell me the first time they tried to do it, they couldn't lay still for 1 minute, not even 30 seconds, because it's just too much, when you have PTS, to be still. And you have to think about all that stuff that's running through your head.
Yeah.
But if you keep coming back and trying it and increasing it, okay, I could do 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then they'll find that they've even actually got rest. And they say, I can't sleep. I never sleep. But I did an hour of yoga nidra and I feel refreshed. Wow. So just to say, to sit with yourself, start small. Don't be self-compassion. Don't feel bad if you're like, I can't even sit still for 30 seconds. And have you ever practiced this? Just look out the window for 30 seconds and don't do anything else. It can seem like a long time the first time you do it. Like, is that 30? Like, set a timer. You're like, is that 30 seconds? That's a long time. It increases. So you keep talking about sitting with yourself. And I think that's so important. And I don't want us to say it like it's easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy, but you owe, just think of it another way. You owe yourself that much. You deserve to give yourself that time. Yeah. And, joy, rest, and celebration also as resistance all ties in. Healing doesn't just mean working through the pain, because it's a lot of work. We've talked about some of the work that this involves. Working through the pain and the trauma. Healing actually also means finding joy, rest, moments of celebration and or gratitude. We had a chat about this on your live the other day, didn't we? This is something that's often overlooked, especially in the context of racial trauma. Yeah, I mean, many of us are barely naming racial trauma because that's the state of the world we're in. We talk a lot about survival and about pushing through the pain and about resilience. But here's something radical, I believe. Joy is also a form of resistance. Yeah. It's a political act to embrace joy, to laugh, to live fully despite the constant assault on our communities as individuals and collectively. So our joy is revolutionary. It's a reclaiming of what's been taken from us. It's when we think about the legacy of blackness, in the world writ large, and in the UK, especially in the face of centuries of colonialism, oppression, and systemic racism. Joy is a radical statement. It says we're here, we're thriving, and we are not broken by the weight of history. Yeah, damaged, like I said, not broken though. And
I don't know if it's still deserve it. You deserve it.
For it being, you deserve it.
Kay said it, and it's right. You deserve Black joy. Kay, I don't know if it's still a trend or if you saw the hashtag Black Joy on social media, and it would be these joyful videos of moments of Black joy. And I don't know if it was a phase, but it was kind of like, okay, that came out of the Black Lives Movement, but it's kind of like people didn't like people are only interested in our trauma or when we're to see somebody in the news talking, and then the racists are like they deserve it, whatever. But to see joy, oh my gosh, that's one reason people are hating Meghan Markle's Netflix series because it's soft, it's joyful. She has friends. People think she doesn't have friends. She has friends. She prioritizes her friends, making things joyful for her friends, and of course her family. So that's a tip for how can we make that a tip? Okay, we say be joyful. Some people don't think they deserve joy or feel guilty. How do you move past that? I don't want to say just get over it. And you deserve it, sister. But
exactly. You do deserve it. And again, there's a lot to unlearn and work on the healing stuff. Yeah, but I think make a conscious point of remembering that you actually don't need to earn rest. You don't need to be productive or useful to justify taking care of your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health. Like rest is a birthright. It's not a reward. So how a lot you can't change a lot of what's led to this and what's caused the trauma and caused the work we feel we need to put in to earn rest. But a lot of the healing work will help you change your mind about things. Yeah. So, and
let me ask you a question. Because I know in the US, if you're not producing anything, you're not valued. Unless you're a child.
Yeah.
And they're trying to change that. But is it the same thing? Is the UK so capitalistic that people who aren't producing are devalued?
What's
wrong with you?
Yeah, we're very capitalistic, very. And I don't think that that's to the exclusion necessarily of anyone, but it's definitely more prevalent if you're not a respectfully palm-colored one, if you're black or you're brown. Yeah.
Because I remember living in the UK. People look down on people that get benefits.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely still a thing.
It's a stigma, which I don't understand because that's what governments and society is supposed to do. You're supposed to protect the vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right. Where everybody's valuable. So, okay, that's still a thing because that's a thing in the States, and they're trying to even get rid of benefits for people and some that people earned as if they're gifts, like Social Security. I don't know what you call it in the UK when you work all your life and you put in money towards your government pension. They're trying to take that away from people, and that's not a benefit. You've been taking that money out of my check for years.
Yeah.
Give me my money and the interest. That's not a benefit. So providing social, so that's why, again, it's hard for individuals to present as weak.
Yeah.
Or to say, my job is stressing me out. I need mental health help. I need you to write a note to the doctor to say I'm working in a hostile work environment.
Mm,
It's very hard to push those things forward
it is.
because people think well, how do you say that okay? You're putting it on? No, you're.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, putting it on. I think it's putting it on. Yeah, it's putting it
But
on.
you know what I mean? Yeah, like you're
I
not.
think or you're blagging it.
You're blagging it like it's not a valid
Yeah,
claim or whatever that
it's
you're
not a
making.
valid claim.
You just want
You're making
benefit.
it up pretty much. Yeah,
You just
sad
want to be on the
true.
dole. You just want to be.
Yes,
Do they still say that, the dole?
I hear it very rarely, but it's still around. It is
I'm
still around.
aging myself. Okay. Okay, before I get completely off the rails, do you still say punters?
Yes, we do. I don't hear it loads, but yes, we do. It's still fairly mainstream.
Okay, so we have to change the dynamic in our communities that if someone
Mm,
is asking for help, is something wrong with them or they're weak or they don't deserve a rest. And maybe
exactly.
we need to even start offering people rest and say, can we help each other out with rest?
Yeah.
You watch my kids for a couple hours this day, this week, and I'll do for you. And we can just
Yeah.
somehow
Build the
community,
village. Rebuild the village.
the village.
Yeah. Oh, it is sad but true. It's sad but true. And it sounds like it's global, but just different, maybe different structures and different names for it. You know?
Yeah, I'm trying to think in Sweden. In Sweden, they're really big on having work-life balance, but also in Sweden, the statistics are like abhorrent. Like women between 30 and whatever are the most stressed in
Mm,
Swedish society. I guess they're in that age, career women or new in their career, maybe starting families, and then maybe starting to feel the pressure from their having older parents. So
yeah.
even in a society like Sweden that is big on work-life balance, people are having a hard time managing stress and
Mm,
managing these things. And let's not put on the layer of what Black women go through in Sweden. That's another episode. But your advice that you said from the beginning is name it, feel
yeah.
it, name it, sit with it,
And
talk
recognize it's
about
okay
it,
to not be okay.
recognize, so self-compassion,
Yeah.
that it's okay. And so many good examples. Okay, keep moving. We got more
Yeah.
stuff. Woo, this always hits me so heavy, but that's
Yeah.
why we're here.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, no, adding to your list now, what I absolutely co-sign this one. Find every excuse for joy, enjoyment, laughing in every day. Like savor life's simple moments. I guarantee there will be something you could be having what you're thinking of as the shittiest day ever, and there will be a reason in that day already to laugh. You just haven't seen it yet.
To
Look for them.
celebrate,
Consciously look for them.
find the humor in every situation you can.
Yes. Absolutely.
And celebrate the small wins,
Yeah.
celebrate every moment. You said bring the joy.
Bring
So
the joy.
joy that gets so I got a parking space right up front. Yay!
Yeah,
Got on the
exactly.
bus and my favorite seat was available. Yay!
Yes,
Just celebrate the joy in every moment. That's
absolutely.
why I keep a gratitude journal because gratitude and joy are very much related, right? If you can,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And both magnify good things. Both do. Yeah.
that magnification is real. Again, that might sound corny, but it's real.
Real.
And if you and I tell you, if you just start with one thing you're grateful for, I'm not saying you're going to have a huge shift immediately, but it's a reminder and it's telling your brain because you might have been thinking a lot of negative thoughts. This happened to me, or I didn't do this right, or whatever. But at least that signals immediately to your brain. That's something to be. That's a positive.
Yeah.
That's a
And
positive. And what you focus on is what you feed. So
yes, exactly. Exactly. And practice makes it a habit. When you train that into a habit, like Adrianne just said, you may not necessarily see instant shifts. In fact, I'd say in the vast majority of cases, you probably don't. But you train that habit, watch your life transform. Watch your life transform. You'll be blown
watch
away.
it. Watch it. And another thing, people, we have to have patience.
Yeah,
You want instant
100%.
solutions. Things like breathing, though, and journaling can bring instant relief, especially when you're having that self talk. When you write around, this just happened. Am I wrong for feeling this? I felt this way. Da, 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 da. My feelings are valid. That can bring immediate, like, not saying it's solved, but just immediate, like, okay, I'm not crazy. When I read over this, yeah, I should be upset. This is valid. Yeah, that did happen. that can bring immediate, instead of just running it over and over in your mind.
Exactly. So joy, bring the joy, basically. So we're going to segue off a little bit. Remember the joy, but the setbacks that no one talks about. Let's talk a little bit about that as well. Because we need to talk about that. These are the moments when you're triggered. Again, going back to what Adrianne said earlier, when you're triggered by something that feels so small, but it's something that actually makes you relive the trauma all over again. Maybe it's a news story. Maybe it's we could say microaggression. Maybe it's an aggression from someone at work. Maybe it's just a bad day where everything feels like it's falling apart. You're just like, you know what, my life's broken today. The guilt, the guilt that comes with feeling like you're regressing, that is a powerful feeling. But here's the thing, that word doesn't even fit, because healing isn't about perfection. And it certainly isn't about never being triggered or always feeling okay and everything being rainbows and unicorn farts. The truth is that setbacks are part of the process. In fact, they're even just part of life, but they're absolutely part of the healing process. And then an example, well, I think we all heard about this one, but a lot of us would have. Let's think about the murder of George Floyd for a second, and the global outpouring of grief and anger that followed that. For many people the world over, it brought up painful memories of how Black lives are devalued. Yeah, that the wave of protests that followed, while incredibly powerful, also showed the emotional toll that these repeated traumas take on people of African descent. Yeah.
We see one brother getting beat down and we're like, can't we get a break?
Yeah.
Or you can remember when it happened to you or someone you know. And every time it happens, because the years keep going on and this 21st century keeps progressing, we think we're past that. We're better than that. And then you're reminded, no, and then we have all that black and white footage.
Yeah.
Of things that have happened our entire past. We do have a collective trauma.
Yeah.
And I think part of it comes from, even if you've never had an incident like that, it could be you.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, setbacks. We responsibly we recognize those and understand that we're all healing constantly, because this shit hasn't ended, but it's possible. Want to segue into boundaries, burnout, and protecting your energy. The last one, 100%, protecting your energy. So important. Again, something that takes practice. Train a habit over time. Yeah, you're not expecting immediate, and have patience.
You said my favorite word, boundaries.
Oh yes, 100%. Because we often feel like we have to keep fighting, keep speaking out, keep educating. But here's the truth: like, you can't heal the same systems that harm you. Like you actually you can't do that, and that's why it's so important to protect your own energy. Because a lot of these systems actually thrive on us consistently feeding our energy. And I'm not saying that with any shade or pointing fingers, but they're alive so as much as they are, because if we keep feeding free energy to them, we need our energy. Protect that. Make your boundaries or set them. Sometimes.
Let me ask you this.
Go on.
Because you're a public target. Do people troll you in your DMs or in comments?
Yeah.
And because, like they say, don't feed the trolls. So how do you handle them?
I don't feed the trolls. For starters, I said what I said in my video. You got an issue with that? You should probably be on someone else's fucking TikTok account. The only time I actually get involved with nonsense in my comments is if I see that followers and people that come along are getting triggered by that. Is usually just to chill them out and remind them that energy is yours. Don't fucking waste it. The actual trolls themselves, like, honestly, usually that's some bottom feeding idiot, probably keyboard warrior sat in his mum's bloody garage somewhere, just literally got his first device. My point being, look, it says way more about them than it ever does about us. So again, I'm not saying it. I'm saying it more as a teaching note and something for you to take on board. Like, don't give them your energy for free. Fuck all the way off. You need that. You need that energy, and you need to protect it. And so one of my boundaries is I don't get involved with that nonsense in the comments. And this is the same in real life. Like, I do speak up and I speak out, but my way of doing that isn't giving you my energy for free when what you're doing says way more about you. Yeah.
And like we said last week, we're not there to educate. You're like, okay, I'm not going to take this as a learning moment for you. No.
Exactly.
You're going to learn something about me, though. I'm not giving you my energy, but
yeah.
But that's all I'm going to teach you.
Exactly. And then the funny thing about trolls, oh look, they're obsessed. They're fucked basically. They're not my problem. They're not my problem, and that's the other thing. Go on.
No, I was going to say thank you so joyfully for saying how you deal with that, because that is the problem that we will have to we have to face. You know, my energy. I'm here. I'm in the situation. Somebody just did something ill, ignorant, not on point. How do I respond? And that's one thing that I love in mindfulness and yoga. We react too much.
Yes.
So you talking about how we use our energy, that's a response choice. So that's why we have to be aware, okay, this is triggering me. This person, I'm not going to feed the situation. There are a lot of different ways I can handle it. You in the chat, don't feed the trolls. You protect your community. Let the trolls know that we see you, but,
exactly.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my people. And then they're not going to be talking to you anymore after that. But boundaries, gosh, I can't say enough about boundaries for me.
Boundaries and energy is everything. It really is. It really is.
Well, Kate, one way I made a conscious decision about my energy for this year is like who I'm even going to spend time with.
Yes.
Whether it's the virtual space or the real space, I'm real
exactly
stingy or overprotective about that now, because I'm like, no way. And I love my company. I'd rather much be with a book.
Yes. Yeah, I'm the same. I am the same. Yeah. And I didn't feel there either. I almost had a meltdown the other day because I forgot my book, which I normally take on transport. I'm saying I will be reading my book, minding my business, drinking my water, my coffee, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that energy, and when you use your energy wisely, what is it? I don't know enough about some theory, but as you say, it feeds off of it. So positive energy feeds off of positive energy too. So if you're like, the time I spend with you is great. We could be talking about something heavy, but I'm in a safe space. It's supportive.
Yeah.
I'm heard.
Yes.
I'm held. Hopefully I'm doing the same thing.
Uplifted and empowered. I'm just going to add some, because this does, like you say, we bounce off each other. Like, it's always positive outcomes from our time and an energy investment with each other, and obviously for the listeners of the podcast.
So that was a wise choice that I made. And then just another quick example, in one of the volunteer organizations I'm in, and we have they always want you to use these chat apps. And then somebody can, you're in a group and then somebody can message you individually and they start saying some crap. And I used to like answer back and forth. And then I was like, you know what? Block.
Oh, don't do it. Block boundaries, energy.
You. So just block. Now I don't see you.
Yeah.
You probably don't miss me. You're going on trolling somebody else.
Exactly.
So I figured that out. It's hard though when it's your family.
It is hard when it's your family. It is hard. And I'm okay sharing this. That had to be pretty much all of mine. Like, my family is me and my children. That's my family. Outside of that, no. And energy, again, yes, boundary. The two come together, right? But when you become more aware of how you are, when you engage with certain individuals, how are you feeling at the end of those interactions? And going back to what Adrianne just said, we've just talked, we're very particular about where we invest our energy, because yes, there's certain things that we want to get out of our interactions when we do decide to invest our energy in individuals. Yeah. So if you're feeling drained every time, or if you know full well you're being abused literally every time, it's negative outcomes, right? And you're just constantly in vicious cycles and you are not going to heal around these people. You've got to decide what you are worth and what boundaries you need to set and how much you're going to invest your energy. It's hard when it's your family. It really wasn't easy, but actually the outcomes of having done that, like, my life began after that. Let's put it this way.
Congratulations.
And, it's talk about
a little bit.
Go on.
No, you go on, sweetie.
I was going to say as well, because that is this is so important that we're hitting on all these points. Because one thing that can be really tricky is just like decide. It's better to have like quote unquote no circle or a very small one than have one that's absolutely killing you inside.
Ooh, say that again for the people in the back.
It's better to have no circle or a small one than have one that's absolutely killing you inside.
Okay, that is so true. But talk about the fear. This is going to be very scary
If you've never
have
done
to
it
cut
before, it'll be
people.
scary. Yeah, it will
It's
be.
scary because you think, oh, it's my family, or oh,
Yeah,
this is my best friend, or oh, this is my husband, and you can't envision a life without them.
yeah,
At the same time, the life that you're living is miserable.
exactly that. The thing to
How?
remember, I'd say, is that all of these things, so, you know, it's my husband, it's my mum, it's my sister, it's my brother, my cousin, my boss, my whoever, like these are all titles. They're just they're earthly titles. If you are basically dead inside, sad every time you interact with one of these or all of them, you are constantly being attacked by one or several of them. You can't continue to shrink just to be able to say that I've got, you know, my family, this and that. And I've seen people that I had to let go as a result of, I'm going to heal, but you're choosing not to at this point. And again, that was said with no shade or felt with no shade, but you will recognize along your healing journey, like not everybody's meant to come with you. And it is hard, but again, like a habit, like a practice, you will be okay with that. It'll take a minute, but you will make peace with it.
You'll make peace with it. And I mean, even Harriet Tubman left some people behind,
Yeah.
you know, so you can't take everybody with you.
You can't
And
take
it's
everybody
okay.
with you. You can't take everybody
It's
with
sad.
you. Yeah.
It's sad. And not to say that all of this is sad. I mean, it's sad when you're being abused by people you love.
Yeah.
It's sad when when your workplace is hostile. It's sad when your circle that you rely on really isn't feeding you and supporting you. So you're already sad, right?
Exactly.
So just get through the sadness and know that
Yeah.
when you get to the other end, it's going to be happy again.
Exactly. And choose your sad. Have you sad for a minute because, you know, you cleared the deck or clean house. But also you're creating space for a higher version of you where you get to be better and do better and have better. And space is clear for, well, Adrianne and I met each other, for example. And I never shared this with you, but I made at least another 5 cuts just before I heard from you. So, you know, you make room for people who are
Bless
more
your heart.
aligned
That's
and give
powerful.
back and pour into you as well. Yeah.
That's powerful. And to say that again, because you hear that again, it may sound corny. And it's the same thing when it comes to cleaning out your house. You have to get rid of some things to make space for things that are important that you need.
Exactly.
Same thing with your friends list.
100%. Clean house, like that could be your physical. But when I speak on cleaning house, I mean physically. I mean if there's anything emotionally that's not serving me, like if that's a belief or a thought track I've still got, I'm like, well, that's not helping. Bye. Things in your actual house. Well, see, yeah, that's just collecting dust. We're hoarding now. People, 100%. Like look around you, and I can't remember who said it again, but you're the sum of the 5 people you allow yourself around the most. So when you think about it that way,
Oh, yeah. I hadn't heard that one. I'm immediately thinking, okay, wow. Okay, that's the exercise I'm going to do. A list on a piece of paper. Who are the 5 people I spend the most time with?
Basically, the 5 people you spend the most time. I don't know if it has to be physical time, but the 5 people you're associated with the most and the most often, or you know whatever the setup is, you're basically the sum of those. So if you think,
okay, I'm making a list.
Think about that. Make your little list. Yeah, and ask yourself some questions and see what comes up.
Brilliant. I love that.
And you got to do it. I say you got to do it. You know what? I will say I'm now. Oh bugger it! You know what? I'm actually quite a proud cut-off queen at this point. I am. I'm proud of myself every time. Because what I'm saying is that if I see some fuckery that it just isn't gonna work. Like there probably are better people for you, and you're definitely not aligned with me. So once I see that,
okay, I'm gonna call you cut-off Kate. Yeah, cut-off Kate.
Doesn't even get
but I love that. But you know what? And I've done that. But I love that. If you see some fuckery, and here's the thing: what did Maya Angelou tell us? If somebody shows who you are,
who they are, believe them the first time. Yes, that's exactly.
So as soon as you see the fuckery, you're like, I see you.
I see you. Bye. Yes, that's pretty much the deal now. And then this will translate as well. Like I realized that actually it helped me better with reading energy of individuals online as well. In real life, but also online. So I can spot fuckery pretty much immediately. And if that fuckery doesn't align with my unique brand of fuckery, well, then it's not gonna be a thing, and that's okay.
And no more waste. Yeah, and that's okay. And no more wasting time.
Exactly that. And then so making peace with your journey, which will involve basically everything we've just talked about. And not everybody's meant to go with you. You make peace with the journey, because healing, it don't mean that you're not going to get hurt again, or like we said, you're not going to run into some sort of fuckery. It doesn't mean that you're never going to face pain or trauma. It means that you accept that healing is a process, one that doesn't always look how you think it might. Yeah. It's not about perfection. It's about presence, and it's about showing up for yourself no matter where you are in that process. You're allowed to grow at your own pace, in your own way. There's no deadline for healing. There's no finish line. We've already talked about it. In the realms of racial trauma, there's no destination, and that's okay. You're allowed to take your time. So that was pretty much all I had to say on it. I mean, healing from racial trauma, it's not a one-time thing. Ongoing process, one that ebbs and flows with joy, anger, yes, you're allowed, setbacks, rest, and resilience. And the most important thing is that we're allowed to heal on our own terms. So just make sure you take care of yourselves. This sounds very Jerry Springer, and take care of each other. Give yourself permission to heal.
Give yourself permission to heal. I've got a meditation for us, cooling the fire within, a meditation for rage and anger.
Yes.
But before I do the meditation, Kate, oh my gosh, you just did something exciting on live. I'm learning from you. How you doing this stuff on live is amazing. But if you weren't with Kate on her live, where were you? But tell us about it and what they can do if they missed it.
I love that. Yeah, bless your heart, she missed it, but it's okay. You don't have to. So yes, I did a workshop on Zoom Live, but actually the replay is available, so you didn't entirely miss out. It was the Speak Your Truth, the mini workshop for Black voices ready to rise, and yeah, we covered a lot of the stuff we're talking about in the podcasts, but actually the main thing is, if you're tired of biting your tongue to keep the peace, which so many of us do, or shrinking because we're not allowed to feel anger, or staying silent, whether that's in your own life, whether it's at work, whether it's walking the streets daily, this could be for you. We did a lot of stuff on shifting your mindset so you can learn how to move from self-silencing to self-expression, and uncovering how to show up in your own life really rooted in your truth, and a few healing practices to take with you and put in your day-to-day life. But you didn't miss out entirely, because actually the recording is actually up for sale, and you can go and get it from katepearl.com. £22. It's 90-minute recording with yours truly. There was a Q&A section that we've included in the recording for you, and you've also got a resource with it, including a voice reclamation map, so that you can go and take action on some of this stuff and have a plan. You'll leave with practical steps and tools to help you keep speaking up, keep healing, even when it's uncomfortable and painful and all that type of stuff. So go ahead and get it at katepearl.com. It's the top option. Hit buy now, all yours, £22.
£22 is a bargain. How much? I mean, if you're a Starbucks person, or I don't know, go out to lunch a couple times a week, that's easily £22. And this is 90 minutes worth of real stuff, practical tips, takeaways. That's a lot in 90 minutes. And for £22. So thanks for that. And hopefully there'll be more in the future. Yes. Is that the plan?
That's definitely the plan. Yeah. And this one was born off of, we talked about the trolls in the comments, but actually this was actually born off of so many TikTok comments that were alluding to that or asking for me to build something like that. So I'll be keeping an eye on those, and we'll be building other workshops in future.
Fantastic. And so do go to Kate Pearls at TikTok.
Yeah.
And get involved in her conversations, because she listens to and reads. So if there's something that you want her to address, or you have feelings and experiences that you want to share, drop those in the chat for her. And who knows, it may be the subject of another live. And to tie onto that perfectly, I've got something going on too. It is a 5-day calm reset. ties perfectly with what Kate's doing and the work that we're trying to do. 5 days, 5 minutes a day, a mindfulness practice with the goal of helping you reclaim your calm. We talk about how mindfulness is a practice, it's not a destination. Muscles need to be worked. So even if you could do it in a 5 minute sequence or 5 minutes snack bite, I can say. My Swedish is starting to come in sometimes. I don't even think we say that in English. But if you do that, it'll start to be normal. And also the tips are types of things that you can employ in any minute as needed. So you can start your day with it, end your day with it, use as need, apply as necessary, as they say with some salves. So this it's a bit.ly 5 day calm, the number 5 day with a big D, calm with a big C. Let's do our meditation. See, we're not just talking and get you all hyped up for nothing. We're trying to help you make sense of it and give you tools to make it better, make you feel all better. Because we're going through the same.
Yeah.
Daily. We go through it all the time. We're challenged. We go through all the time. For me, the internal conversations are enough to make me have to sit down and write in my journal or do some breathing exercises.
Yeah.
I'm going to go look for a root on a tree. I'm going for a walk today. I'm going to go look for a root, a tree with a root, and take my shoes off and put my feet on it. Thanks for that, Kate. I'm going to offer us a meditation now. Let's go off camera so we can be in our own space. And this is one thing I love about online practices. We're not performing for anyone. You don't have to be there in any particular way. Right now, there's no wrong way for you to be here. You decide if that means sitting down, lying down. You decide if your eyes are closed, maybe looking at a candle flame. But know that you're safe here with me and Kate. You're allowed to feel everything you feel, even things we haven't mentioned. We've created this space to be honest, not to perform. We're always on. So let that sink in. The time you spend with me and Kate when we're together and when we're doing our own things is not performative. So you can feel what you feel and be honest. Let's access our breath, this beautiful gift that we have freely running through our bodies. Inhale through your nose as slowly as you can, filling up your lungs and your stomach like big balloons. And when you can't hold it any longer, exhale through your mouth like a sigh. Again, inhale through your nose as slowly and methodically as you can. Exhale through your mouth like a sigh. See if you can feel a vibration in your throat. That's going to help trigger your rest and digest response. Let's do it one more time and make a sound. Let's be lions and lionesses on our exhales. Mouths wide, tongue stretched, as if we're yawning out there in our kingdom, in queendom. Ah. And when you get angry, where does it show up for you? Is it your chest, your jaw? Do you clench your fists? Get a knot in your stomach? Does your temperature rise or drop? The hairs on your neck stick up? Think of something in which you were angry. We're not going to dwell on it, but just observe the sensation that comes up. Cool, hot, sharp, heavy, tight, pulsing. Just notice. How did you feel the last time you faced an indignity? When you read the news about police brutality in our communities, how did you feel? Now let that go and breathe into that space. Inhale, exhale. As if your breath could widen the room around the sensation you're feeling. Let it be there. We know it's there, but it's not going to take up our whole space because you are not your anger. Repeat, I am not my anger. And if getting angry heats you up, let's do a cooling breath. Inhale through your nose and exhale through a tiny opening in your lips, like you're blowing through a straw. Feel the cool air move across your tongue and out of your mouth. 2 more times, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through pursed lips, cool, slow, and soft. One more time, inhale through your nostrils, exhale through pursed lips as if using a straw, like the wind moving gently through the trees. Remember, rage is not shameful. Anger is not weakness. Both are signals and calls for care, demanding for something to be acknowledged. Let's close by saying, I hear you. I see you. I am listening. I am safe to feel. I choose how to respond. Access your big, beautiful breath, a deep inhale, biggest one of the day. Lion's breath, exhale. Inhale your shoulders up to your ears. Drop them down on the exhale. Come back into the room. Thanks for practicing your sprint. Thanks for practicing your strength today. Kate and I say it's a practice. I like to liken it to a marathon. It's not a destination.
That part.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Adrianne. Amazing as always.
Amazing. Thank you so much for bringing the topic, and we'll talk again next week.
Down. See you. This has been your girl, Kate Pearl. I hope you found this episode enlightening.
This is Adrianne, and I hope it's been healing.
Bye.
Bye.